start again. Thank you all for joining us on today's Champaign County Joint Information briefing for Thursday, May 21st, 2020. We're going to get started with Julie Pride to do a health update and any additional information from public health.
Hi, good afternoon. We currently have 497 cases cumulative in Champaign County, with 21 new ones being reported today. We've done over 10,000 tests in the community. We currently still have 5 people hospitalized, and a little bit concerning is that we're currently managing 22 active outbreaks. We have over 700 people in quarantine and almost 250 in isolation. That means that they are sick, so those are active cases. One thing that I want to remind people of is to, when you're at your jobs, because these are all essential work sites, when you are at your jobs and you're being very vigilant about your infection control, please make sure that when you're on break or when you're on lunch or even after work, to remain 6 feet apart and keep your masks on. This is important because it seems that we are seeing clusters that may be related to that. So even though you're being vigilant in your actual work site, when you're on breaks or when you have lunch hours, please, and after work, please be vigilant as well. I also want to report that we currently have a community-based coronavirus testing site out at the mall. That is open 7 days a week, with the exception of Memorial Day. It will not be open then, but the Carlin on South Mattis will be open. That one at the mall is free, and it is open from 8 until 4. They can do up to, I believe, 750 tests a day, so there should be no shortage at all. So everyone can take advantage of that. We have the information about that on the website as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. And now I'll turn it over to Bruce Knight from the City of Champaign, the Planning and Economic Development Director, who will sort of give a brief introduction to some of the plans for moving through the phases of Restore Illinois here locally.
Thanks, Chris. So we have been taking a multi-agency and organization approach in working together to help businesses open safely in Champaign County. We want them, based on when they are allowed to open on the Restore Illinois plan, but want to provide them with good, sound information in order to be able to move quickly and get open when it's the right time. To do that, we're rolling out a new website, champaigncountysafe.org, a Safe Business Pledge program, as well as sector-by-sector guidelines on how to open safely. And those will all be located on the champaigncountysafe.org website because we want this to be living documents that we will continue to update and change as the circumstances change over time. A good example of the reason we're doing that was the governor's announcement yesterday that restaurants will be allowed to have outdoor seating. This is something that we hadn't expected to happen in the phase 3 area. So now we're having to adjust quickly, and we'll have to address the guidelines for that. So we'll continue to update this. We want to encourage people to review it regularly. And you'll hear now from some of the other agencies that have been involved in putting this together.
Thank you, Bruce. Next, we'll go to Carly McCrory-McKay, who's the Executive Director of the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Bruce mentioned today, several local organizations and municipalities are pleased to release champaigncountysafe.org. This website is a hub of really great information for businesses and has a variety of resource aspects. I'll touch on a few and then hand it over to Jane and Laura to touch on some of the other specifics. But one of the things that we really wanted to do is to build a website based off of what we thought would be helpful, especially as we intake questions from different businesses about guidelines for reopening and some best practice scenarios. So Some of the features of the site include a PPE resource list to be able to find and purchase those supplies. There's also a cleaning companies list and companies that offer cleaning products, as well as a local printers list as well, so you can know who's open, who's active, and who can print the resources that you need, including things like directional floor signage, stickers to put in your place of business. And then I believe I'll leave it up to my other peers to talk about the other aspects of the website.
Thanks, Carly. And next we'll hear from Jane DeLuce, who is the president and CEO of Visit Champaign County.
Good afternoon. We're asking for our local businesses to take the Safe Business Pledge to be committed to help stop the spread of COVID-19, and through safety standards that are outlined by the CDC, the Illinois Department of Public Health, and the CU Public Health District. Idea is that this will ensure the safety of not only the customers, but definitely their employees. It includes a commitment to face coverings, clean hands, sanitization, social distance, and following public health guidelines. We're making it super simple. Everyone can just go to the champaign-county-safe.org website. They can pledge online. Those committed businesses will be listed on the website, and those will be promoted to the community, including any of the returning U of I students on campus.
Thank you, Jane. And next up, we'll hear from Laura Weiss, the president and CEO of the Champaign County Chamber of Commerce.
Good afternoon. So included on the website is a resource guide that was mentioned earlier. This is really a compilation of best practices that we were able to pull together from across the country. It started originally as a document that was in the Quad Cities, but we've been working across the region so that communities across Central Illinois are rolling out very similar plans. In particular, when you have a company that is maybe located here in Champaign, but also located in McLean County or in Decatur, we're not having conflicting messages in the community on how one business has to respond maybe in 3 different communities. So we were all working with the raw files from that, and then we localized it for our communities. We also then took the documents and put together industry groups and worked with our local industries to review the documents and tell us what works and what doesn't work. And so we have that along with a template in which a business can go in and they can very easily put together their own plan so that they can then communicate that with their employees.
Thank you, Laura. And next up, we have Sue Gray, who is the president and CEO of United Way of Champaign County.
Good afternoon, everybody. And just want to say, as someone who's had the opportunity to sit on this group to help develop this document for Champaign County, you know, the nonprofit sector has a variety of types of businesses: one-on-one counseling, professional business offices, even those that have large gymnasium spaces. And this document really provides just a comprehensive overview and guidelines for any business to follow. And the best part is that there are at your fingertips literally tons of resources so that you can open your business safely and know that you're using best practice, and that if you ever have any questions, there's also a place to go and get those answered. So I hope and I encourage everybody to take advantage of this document and utilize it for your business, whether it be a for-profit or nonprofit.
Thank you, Sue. So next up, we've gone through our panelists, and so I'll now go down the list of participants that I see on the call and give you an opportunity to ask questions. I will call on everyone unless I know that you're a panelist and don't think that you have a question, and then I'll have time at the end. If I don't hear anything from you after I call your name, after a couple seconds, we'll move on. And probably the most important, helpful part is if you do have a question, you could direct that question to a particular panelist, and that will help us facilitate getting you the proper answer. So first on my list, I have Autumn Solomon.
They're muted.
Just unmuted. Yep. Next up, I have Christine Herman.
I was a few minutes late to the call, but I did want to just ask a question not related to the business aspect, but about the public health question to Julie Pride. Is that okay?
Yes, Christine.
Okay, Julie, I've just been hearing from people in the community that they would like to know where I believe last time was 18 outbreaks occurring at different businesses throughout Champaign County, and people want to know which businesses those are. And I heard Governor Pritzker say when he was asked this earlier this May that local public health districts should inform the public when outbreaks occur at local businesses. And I wanted to just ask, do you disagree with that? Is that some information that the county is able to provide to people who want to know?
I can look into it. I need to let everyone know that, first of all, an outbreak can be anything from 2 cases all the way up to, hundreds. So what we do in an outbreak is that when we have a case, a positive case, that person is removed from their place of employment and everyone there is contacted and offered testing. So it's important to know that that is not a source of an issue at the time. But yeah, we can look into doing that. What we don't want to do is unnecessarily impact someone's business when it's not a public health concern. Sometimes just by us saying it, people take more into that than is actually necessary. You may recall, I always go back to measles. Measles was a little different because it is a super infectious airborne respiratory virus that hangs in the air for at least 2 hours afterwards. So we had to reach out to the public in that case because you can literally walk through a building and infect people. With COVID-19, that's not the case. If you're in close contact with them, you still need a little bit of time, which is another reason that, the mask helps keep that in there. But when with measles, we didn't have that. So a close contact of someone with COVID-19 is usually someone who has had, it is actually 10 minutes within 6 feet is the case definition. So there is, when it's in a nursing home or a big place like that, the reason why that always gets out, the nursing homes send letters to the family members and they almost always contact the media. They just do that. The family members do. But if it's not a specific issue to the public, we don't typically do that, but we can look into that and see. But you can see why it could negatively impact a place when there's absolutely no public health concern related to that.
Thank you, Julie.
Mm-hmm. And there's 22 outbreaks right now. Eek.
Thanks.
Next up, I have Courtney Bunting.
Yes, hi. I think my question will be best directed to, it might be kind of hard to direct it to anyone specific, but I'll ask you, Julie, when it comes to restaurants and the way that they operate moving forward, I know that some of them have the ability to accommodate for the outdoor seating while still generating a profit, but some of them that we talked to had outdoor seating areas that you had to go inside the restaurant to access. And I apologize if it's too soon to ask this question, maybe it's on an individual basis, but is that something that could be possible for them to do at all?
Yeah, as long as it is something where they're taking you can do a lot of things. If they're just taking individuals, through or directing them through a place in the units that they're going to sit with, that is possible. That should be possible, yes.
Okay. And the only other question is some restaurants were saying that in order to have enough outdoor seating to justify staying open, they would need it along some streets where pedestrians have to pass by. Is it something that the city, and this may not be a question for you, Julie, something the city would consider when it comes to road closures to accommodate something like that? I don't know. I don't really know who to direct this question to.
Bruce.
Bruce.
I'll take that one. This is Bruce Knight. From the standpoint of the city of Champaign, I'll tell you that we are not looking at extensive road closures throughout our downtown. And one of the main reasons for that is that restaurants have also told us that the curbside pickup program is one of the most important things to their survival right now. So we need to allow people to still get through and be able to do curbside pickup. But we are looking at, number one, where we can do sidewalk cafes with reduced capacity. Number two, the possibility of having some other group seating areas where tables are at least 6 feet apart, and people could pick up food and go sit and eat. And those would be in either closed off parking spaces or maybe a closure of more minor streets. In looking around the state, I can tell you that different cities are handling this differently based on their own circumstances. Some of them are looking at closing streets completely. That just doesn't work very well in our downtown. And we're trying to also coordinate very closely with Urbana, so we're operating in a very similar way.
Okay, so only really minor streets or parking spaces, if anything.
Yeah, correct. And we want to try and provide space for as much outdoor seating as possible. So we'll continue to work with our local restaurants to figure that out. We're also going to be looking at temporarily waiving parking requirements. So those restaurants outside of our downtown area that have parking lots can expand their outdoor seating into their parking lot if they want to.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Courtney. Next up on my list, I do have an account that just says WCIA. Is there someone else besides Courtney?
No, they're just recording separately.
Okay, no problem. Stephanie or Jeff, do either of you have a question, or are you just listening in?
No questions.
Let's see, Deb Pressey. Deb Pressey, did you have anything?
I think sometimes she has trouble getting on with her phone, so she'll probably reach out with some questions after.
And then I have a phone number 766 that ends with a 54. Did you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. Do any of our panelists have anything that they'd like to say to close out, for anyone who might have questions that you didn't hear here?
I had one more question. This is Christine from Illinois Public Media, if that's okay.
I think that's fine, Christine. Go ahead.
Yeah. Julie, I was curious with dentist offices, giving the green light to reopen for routine dental care. Are local health departments helping dentists get PPE the same way that you've kind of stepped in to help nursing homes that have struggled with supply issues? Is that something that you're working on?
No, we just can't. But what we are doing is, I know that a lot of the public health dentistry programs anyway have talked with children's, I think it's called Illinois Children's Healthcare Foundation, and different places about having them assist with that. But dental offices, they're going to need to look at the same list that was mentioned on this website and start looking for PPE on there. And unfortunately, that is just a really, it's going to be a really difficult thing, because the PPE that's required for dental offices to open up with this respiratory virus is way more significant than it has been in the past, and it's going to be difficult to get. So they're going to require face shields, respirators, things that they've never had to use before. It's going to be as big of a jolt to the dental industry, or whatever you want to call it, as HIV/AIDS was and hepatitis back in the 80s. So it's going to be a big change.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else from the media have a follow-up? If not, any of our panelists have a follow-up?
Chris, I just say that we are excited to roll out this new resource. We're all very anxious to support our local business community and make sure that they survive through this difficult time period. And we hope this resource can help them do that, help them answer important questions that they need answered in order to operate in the most safe way they can, and open when it's appropriate to do so under the Restore Illinois program. And I'll just say again, I'll reiterate, we're going to continue to update this website, update the information as we get new information, and we would encourage businesses to check back and look at it frequently.
It's a great website. You guys did an amazing job. You know, I'm always the envy of my colleagues, and it's because of the work that gets done in this community. It's just amazing. So it's a great site. Thank you for doing it.
It's nothing compared to what you're dealing with, Julie, so it's all good.
Yeah.
I was handed a couple of questions. I'll just put them out there. I think it will be helpful just for people to hear. With the toolkit or the guideline and the website that's out there, if you could just, if someone could clarify, maybe Carly or Bruce or Laura, what Champaign County is doing, you know, is that in addition to what CDC or the state of Illinois says, or is Champaign County sort of forging their own way?
Laura, you want to take that one?
It's best practices, but we always direct everybody back to CDC, CU Public Health, Illinois Department of Public Health. So those should be the determining factors for businesses. But this document includes, you know, sort of the baseline of the best practices that you should be implementing in your business. And I will tell you, in areas of like hairstylists and things like that, and salons, the group that we worked with, if they would have had it their way, I mean, the list would have been a lot longer than what's in the document. So, I mean, I've been really impressed in talking with local businesses about their commitment to really making sure that they're providing a safe experience for their customers.
Thank you. A question maybe for Julie. With the governor's sort of surprise, if you will, announcement yesterday that actually you participated in Springfield, talking about patios and things like that. Is public health at the local level or the state level working with those businesses on how they'll have customers using facilities and ordering and things like that? Or are we still waiting to see information sometime next week?
So this is what the guidance is that they're talking about. The guidance isn't going to be anything, it's really not going to be anything different than we're going to all be doing and have been doing. It's keeping people or groups 6 feet apart, wearing masks, and you know, hand sanitizing. For restaurants, they already do a higher level of sanitation that's needed. I get a lot of questions about that, but the fact is they already, what they clean with, you know, bleach solutions is already, it's way strong enough to kill this virus. So it's mostly going to be, how can I do my business, whatever my business is, while keeping people apart, which is different than it's been in the past. So there's a million ways to do that. That's why I think that the way that they created this website and put all these different options out there are really good. If a place has something that's really unusual, we are more than happy to send someone out there and help them brainstorm something. And probably, you know, there's a lot of other places that can do that as well. But it's just a matter of kind of helping to think through some of these things. But probably a really good thing to do for a business if they need something specific is to call a place that's already been open during this phase and find out, you know, how they did it. But I just want to keep cautioning everyone that where we're seeing outbreaks, a lot of times it's in employees and who are then congregating afterwards. I mean, they just, you know, it's not normal to think about staying away from each other at lunch or staying away from each other. You know, you might hop in the same car together, but unless someone is in your cohort, meaning your household or the group you live with, you should not be doing that, because that is definitely a way to transmit the virus.
Thank you, Julie. Carly, could you give us that website one more time?
Absolutely. So go to champaign-county-safe.org. There you'll find the Champaign County Business Safety Pledge, the toolkit with resources and guidelines for all industries, as well as some general best practices for all employers, a PPE resource list, a cleaning resource list of local companies, as well as printers. And then you can also just take the pledge directly online or download the PDF itself. And there's also great examples of signage that businesses can access as well. And certainly if there are things that businesses think are missing from the site or that would be helpful to add, we're always happy to continue adding and readjusting and building new templates. So just reach out with the contact form on the site and we'll work to get that updated.
Thank you. Thanks to Bruce, Carly, Jane, Laura, and Sue, and your respective organizations who've helped put together this website. Thanks to Julie for the updated health information. Our Q&A session is over unless someone chimes in here over me in the next couple of seconds as I wrap up. I do want to remind people about 211, which is a service to help anyone, not just organizations, sort through local businesses, and that is a group of trained specialists that can help you navigate things that are going on here in our community. Also, remind everyone that when you're out in public to wear a mask, and several other organizations have banded together to launch wearitdon'tshareit.com, which also takes you to a Champaign County COVID-19.org website, and that will have updated information on for all of the things that are happening in our community and our surrounding community. And we look forward to getting back through the phases of Restore Illinois safely and together. Thank you.
Thank you.